Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm dear darling, and shall we see what's going on the lovely island of Fawnhollow today as I close my window? It was actually raining earlier. Has it stopped raining? Well, you know, UK showers for you. Here and gone within 5 minutes or something apparently. So yeah, what we've been up to? Not much today. Not much exciting. Sending some emails, you know, trying to get through no phone calls. Didn't really happen. Did a bit of drawing, played a bit of TFT. Anyway, hello everyone. Right now in Fawnhollow, it's 3:14 PM on Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. Is there really no news for me to share today? Guess so, but you should give yourself a pat on the shoulder. You made it halfway through the week. It's Wednesday. It is Wednesday. It feels like Friday for some reason. My sense of days is all messed up, but, you know, whatever. You know what I thought I should talk about today? Because, you know, if you don't know, I play League of Legends. Whoa, really? I know, crazy. Wait, hold on. Hello, Junebug. That's not Vivian's voice. Hello, Junebug. I've got a little present for you. It's nothing too extravagant, but I think it's just a thing. Add a stylish new eyewear to regular ensemble, and voila! All eyes will be on your new look, darling. Ha! Your fashion maven, Vivian. All eyes on me. Our mailbox is nearly full. So, actually, I play League of Legends, and basically what I want to talk about today is the whole drama surrounding a very new October 22nd Sylvana's Party character coming out called Seraphine. Except for I want to sort out all the Halloween stuff we're doing first, so I'll get onto that in a bit. But I'm gonna lay some groundwork down. You know, League of Legends. If you don't know what League of Legends is, it's a battle arena where your team of 5 people is pitted off against another team of 5 people, and you all play different characters called champions in the game. I actually can't remember if I bought this or not, so I'll buy the skin. And basically, there's a whole lot of controversy over this new champion which has come out called Seraphine. It's very interesting, and of course I've got my own thoughts and takes on it because, you know, I have opinions, believe it or not. And, you know, reading through all the drama and all the comments and stuff on Reddit and Twitter or all these different social media sites, maybe, you know, think I wish I had my I want to express my own opinions and thoughts on it, and I was like, you know, why not do it in an Animal Crossing video? Because I need something to talk about every day for half an hour anyway, so why not this? Is red our visitor for today? It's not red. It's not red. It's actually unbelievable. So, well, I guess we're mindlessly digging up flowers and putting them away somewhere. I guess we can start clearing up these ones. It seems like perfect ground to talk about it. So, of course, League of Legends, you don't really need to know too much about the game, I suppose. I'll try and explain things as I get onto it. But basically, there's this new champion coming out called Seraphine. And she stoked a lot of controversy through many different reasons. Now, there's a lot of different champions in League of Legends. I think there might be must be 170 odd or something, or 150. There's definitely more than 150, I think. What on earth are these? Ultra no-show socks. What on earth are those? I've never seen them before, at least in real life. But anyway, no Halloween costumes, so we'll be moving on. So there's a lot of champions. Also, I'm going to preface this by saying everything I say is my own opinion. Nothing I say is necessarily correct because, you know, I can't remember all the facts. I just want something to idly talk about, basically. And I'm not saying my opinion is right or anything, you know, it's subject to change, and nor do I stand too harshly, I guess, against any of this. I don't mean to cause any harm. It's just I just want something to talk about, basically. You know, sort of gossiping between friends, that sort of thing. That's what I'm here for. So yeah, that's my preface. You know, everything I say might be completely ignorant. It's just sort of mindless background chatter. Anyway, so yes, there's a lot of champions already, and this new champion, Seraphine, has come out is a music-themed champion, which you might say by itself, hey, that's pretty cool, not too bad. Except for we've already got a music-themed champion beforehand. In fact, a couple. But the main one is a champion called Sona, who you often see people draw comparisons to. We also have some other sort of music-themed champions, we have Carthus, who's a eulogy singer or something. He sings about the death of people, I can't really remember. Floor or whatever. But the main thing is, people are drawing a lot of comparisons between Seraphine and Sona, saying that they sort of thematically overlap a lot, and that their kits being what the champion or character can actually do in game overlap a lot, which is, you know, sort of here and there, and my take on it is, I think music is a pretty big theme in general. Like, there's a lot of different ways you can take music. You can go like a very elegant classical orchestral sort of vibe with it. You can go like death metal, rock, which is kind of what they sort of do with Carthus now I think about it. You can go very modern, like future punk, dubstep, you know, electronic, that sort of vibes. You can go very slow, jazzy, blues, that sort of thing. And you can go different directions in music as well, and different personalities and takes on all that sort of thing. So the fact that they both have music as a thematic isn't really that much of a problem, in my opinion. And to be fair, I don't think many people are saying that's the major problem. I think the major point people are trying to bring up with it is they've sort of got a weird thematic overlap. Because while music is a very broad sort of topic, they both are very sort of dainty, elegant and soft characters, I suppose. With Sona being, she's sort of like a muse, a maven. She's very like ethereal, I suppose is how I'd put it. She's sort of got like a very classical orchestral vibe, is my sort of thing. She'd be like a concert pianist. She's like Riot Games, League of Legends. League of Legends take on like a concert pianist or something in their world. Now Seraphine, she, in my opinion, does actually take up a different niche compared to Sona. Seraphine is kind of like an idol, like a K-pop idol, a Japanese idol. And you notice I'm sort of saying idol instead of pop star, which would be a much more Western take on things. But to be honest, from her design, she's kind of more idol-like. And maybe I'm just saying that because I'm primed because of another controversy that's being brought up about her, is she's like, if you've heard about it, you've probably heard about the virtual K-pop band called KDA, who came out with Pop Stars 2 years ago, featuring like alternate universe versions of some of the champions in League of Legends, which is fine, but notice that alternate universe is the main point of it. So like the champion like Evelyn, she's in KDA as, she's more like a diva pop star. She's like high standards, high stakes. She's blunt and to the point, but she's also like very artistically talented in the KDA universe. But in the regular League of Legends universe, she's like a sadistic sort of demon of lust and temptation, I suppose. So you can see there's not too much really like overlap between the champions and their alternate universe counterparts, which is kind of how it should be. The alternate universe is just like a time to see the champions through a different light or a different skin or a different spin on them, you know? Being like in a different world, what would they be like, and that sort of thing. Which I think is pretty cool. The thing is, Seraphine is very similar in her alternate universe to her League of Legends portrayal, I suppose, because in the KDA universe, she is also like, she's basically like an indie up-and-coming, oh, I didn't mean to delete that, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. She's an indie sort of artist. She's up-and-coming. She's got like, she's like, you know those sort of like indie girls who like have acoustic guitars and make covers of like songs or whatever on their Twitter, Instagram, that sort of thing. That's basically who she is. And, so yeah, a lot of people are saying that she's been made with... Oh, hello. My phone. That's my new phone there. You can hear it's got a different vibration noise. I'm sorry, it's got weird notifications from... I don't even know what that is. Oh, it's from one of my video games. It doesn't matter. Yeah, they're saying this new champion Seraphine has been made not with League of Legends the game first in mind. She's been made with her existence, I suppose, in the League of Legends universe being secondary to her KDA universe representation, I suppose. It's sort of like a lot of people are saying she's sort of been like plucked from the KDA universe, which is meant to be sort of very reflective of our own world, to be honest, and just dropped into the League of Legends universe called Runeterra. And she feels kind of out of place, is what a lot of people are saying. And, you know, I kind of do get what they're saying, because from her thematic design, she's... Oh god, this is so many, like, so much explaining and backstory to do. She's from a place called Piltover, and she's kind of from Zorn and Piltover. It's a bit muddied. And Piltover is sort of like League of Legends, the Runeterra equivalent of a steampunk city. It's a very, like... It's like the most technologically forward faction. It's got... And instead of doing like steampunk steam locomotions and stuff, they use something called hex technology, which is basically their equivalent of electricity, it seems, but it's using these like magical crystals to sort of power everything, and a lot of their designs and technologies are powered using them. And Zorn is sort of like a dark underbelly. It's kind of like, I don't want to call it a slum, but it kind of is like a slum. It's like a very like very street rat like city, you know, sort of like a very sketchy city. But the Piltover and Zorn are closely linked, because I believe Zorn is like directly underground Piltover or something like that. And there's sort of a bit of tensions between the two, because Piltover is sort of very aristocratic. Oh, CJ, hello. Very aristocratic. They have very steampunk, like Victorian England sort of vibes, is my guess. A lot of nobility and very snooty. It's sort of a mix between steampunk and some sort of, well, you know, actually, you know, it's just kind of steampunk, to be honest. Steampunk and sort of like not futuristic, but like medieval futuristic, I suppose, if I was to put it. Aesthetics going on. Zorn's got very grimy sort of like street aesthetic going on. You know, very grungy they got sort of like a lot of biomechanical things going on as a sort of takeaway. And so basically Seraphine's story, or lore, I suppose, is she was and also very important to point out, Piltover is filthy rich, or not filthy rich, but very, very rich and wealthy and prosperous city, and Zorn is very poor. And it's very hard to do, like, it's meant to be like, you know, people want the social climb, but there's also a lot of resentment, you know, class commentary, that sort of thing going on between. Okay, cool, fine, that's all good and interesting. Seraphine's lore. Okay, let's go into our lore later, because we're talking about her design right now. So right now, Seraphine, you can Google it yourself, be like Seraphine Champion Splash Art. You'll see she has pink hair, and she has this sort of blue shimmery sequiny dress on, and a white, like, short jacket, I suppose. Now the thing is, a lot of people are bringing up the fact that she doesn't really look like she belongs to Piltover or Zorn, which is where she's from, and lore-wise, she's trying to reunite, or like, reunite the community, I suppose. And to be honest, at that point, I do agree. Like, I don't agree with everything that the general consensus is through social media, but that one I do kind of agree. Like, she's got a very sequiny blue, green, purpley dress on, which is, you know, I'm willing to give it a pass, because she's basically the equivalent of a pop star. So of course she would have a very flashy sort of dress on, and you know, the blue, green, purple, while they're not very Zorn inspired colours, which are very sort of like grungy green, browns, that sort of thing, and Hextech seem to have a lot of like golds and whites. Piltover seems to have a lot of gold and whites sort of going on. It's it's pretty close to these Hextech crystals, which Piltover uses for their technology, and as you'll find out later, are kind of important to her lore. So, you know, I'm willing to give that a pass. She's a flashy sort of performer. Of course, she's going to have that sort of fancy get up, I suppose. I think the white jacket is a bit and the reason I think is a bit is because it doesn't aesthetically fit in, I think, with the stylings of Hextech, Piltover, and Piltover sort of styles they got going on. They got, as I said before, they're very steampunk inspired, and that it's not a very steampunky-esque jacket. It's a very much like, you know, like AKB48, like the Japanese idol group. It seems like something they would wear, which feels, I'll be honest, even though it's plausible, I would say, for someone from Piltover or someone in the universe to be wearing that, I feel like, I mean, since they're creating the character, they get to choose every single part of the design of a character. Why did they choose something that reminiscent of something in the real world? Which is, I will be honest, it's sort of immersion breaking. It's sort of like, I'm not sure I'm feeling that. A lot of people also comment on the fact that she's a pop star, which doesn't fit in League of Legends or Runeterra. I'm going to say, that one I'm also willing to give a pass on. You know, I think a much more classic medieval fantasy take on it, which is sort of like where Runeterra's sort of inspired from, I'm guessing, would be like a travelling bard or that sort of thing. Something you might see in D&D or something, you know, like, yeah, a travelling bard, which, to be honest, I don't know why they didn't just make her a bard, a travelling bard. That seems like it would fit much better, to be honest. But, you know, pop star, okay, fine. I'm going to give it a pass because it's in Piltover, which is a very technologically forward city, and so, of course, you know, having a travelling bard might feel a bit out of place in Piltover, but a pop star would sort of be the equivalent, I suppose. She's sort of like a weird in-between, I suppose. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. In my opinion, that's fine. The thing is, my general criticism with Seraphine is not all this thematic overlap and dissonance, I suppose, that other people might be calling that for. I think she's just kind of safe and a bit boring. Now boring is, I think, evidently not a great thing. Safe, you might be like, safe? You know? Safe as in like fulfilling certain stereotypes, or like, why is that necessarily a bad thing? In your opinion, dear? And it's because, going back again, League of Legends has a huge amount of champions. By now we want to see sort of new, well, not we want to say, I want to see more innovative champions and ideas pushing different themes that have not really been covered before and that sort of thing. Like, even though there's 150 champions, you can still have new branches and new sort of areas to explore within each of those. But the problem with Seraphine, she's just like super safe. Like, nothing about her is particularly like unobtrusive. She's sort of like kind of Mary Sue-ish, if I'll be honest. We should actually customize her shovel instead of buying another one. I don't know what I'm doing here, but we will buy some customization kits anyway. She's sort of very Mary Sue-ish. And if you don't want Mary Sue-ish, it's sort of like she's too perfect. She's not very flawed, and she doesn't really push much of a narrative, I suppose, is how I'd come about it. And this is where we get onto her lore, because I think the lore is probably one of the parts, like, to show, it's very important because it shows like the motivations, the reasoning behind some of the characters and their choices and their decisions and that sort of thing. And this is where I think you can actually explain away a lot of the people's concerns, I think, with Seraphine, because from what you've seen so far, you're like, okay, so maybe she's like the way I thought that they might go with her before we like got her official lore and everything. It's like, maybe she's like the equivalent of an influencer in that world, but she's like the sort of people who, they go to like travel to poor cities in like Africa or whatever and be like, oh man, we need to really help. Oh, sorry, I should explain her lore first. But basically, I thought she was going to be maybe like a very fake sort of influencer, or she's going to be a very like not unlikable character, but a character that a lot of people would find irritating in some aspects. Like the type to sort of like take a selfie, sort of like Cassie Cage from Mortal Kombat, if you know that. She's sort of like she's a very good fighter and that sort of thing. Like, I think she's in the military or something, trained forces, but she's also the type to take like a selfie over her opponent and that sort of thing, post it to social media, like pop bubblegum in their face, like that sort of thing. Maybe not that sort of 90s inspired, but like a modern take on that. Like an influencer, maybe she'll be like hashtag like one prayer, that sort of thing. Instead, her lore wise is her parents are both from Zorn, if you remember that's the poor city, and they basically worked, and they were like, Zorn kind of sucks. We don't want our child to grow up in Zorn. I also remembered that we have some flowers at Sylvana's house which we need to clear out. So they moved to Piltover somehow. I'm not sure how easy it is just to move like that, which did raise some questions for me, but I'm looking to... I might have remembered that wrong. It might be that they worked really hard to move to Piltover. And they gave birth to Seraphine. And Seraphine basically has what can only be described as constant synesthesia. Synesthesia? Is that how you say it? When like senses blur together, that sort of thing. She basically like hears people's souls, basically. And she hears them all their songs. So if like everyone's got like different, like auras and souls or whatever things, she hears them all as a song, and it's constantly playing. And the melodies like that always constantly play in her head, or that sort of thing. And and it basically goes at the beginning as like, oh no, this is bad. Like her parents are like, oh no, we got to help our child because she's being like constantly tormented by this endless stream of music or something that she constantly hears in her head. So they use some hex technology to basically make ear dampeners, I guess, like reverse hearing aids on hearing aids. Now these hextech crystals, which you don't know lore wise, they're actually, these hextech crystals are basically an ancient race, which is I can't remember, I think they've been like trapped in these crystals, or they are the crystals and they've been put to sleep dormant and been like Piltover don't know that they're actually using and saving basically an ancient race every time they're using these hextech crystals to power their machines. So it's kind of messed up, but only like certain societies know about it. Like there's a secret society which do know about that thing, but they like keep it hush hush because the technology they get, I think, is beneficial in their eyes or something. So it's kind of messed up. but they're basically exploiting and enslaving an ancient race to use as technology. And so she puts on the dampening hearing aid, and she can hear the soul of this creature which is trapped inside. And apparently song is very important to this ancient race. I can't remember. Bury it again. And why was I going with this? She hears her soul, hears a song, and then she's like, oh no, these are like living beings, and they have such a beautiful melody to them. And then it's something like she sings to them, they sing back, and she hears a beautiful song, and she's like, the world needs to know about their song, you know, or something. And then, so she basically turns the hearing dampener into like a speaker. Oh yeah, and all her backstory is like, she sings a lot, she loves to sing along with the melodies, but it's just getting too much. And she's like, wow, what I thought was a curse is now a gift, it turns out, to hear people's souls, and I'm going to spread the word of these, like, spread the melody and the song of these Bracken, this ancient race that I'm hearing through these crystals. And then, you know, she also visits Zorn at some point and sees everyone so downtrodden and stuff, and she's like, I want to reunite them back with Piltover because these people are like lost or something. I can't quite remember. my memory gets a bit hazy. I sort of just remember the feelings evoked from reading it rather than the actual details, which I'm very sorry. You can read it yourself though if you want to. And so you might be like, okay, well that's very noble and all, but there's a lot of questionable moral and ethics in that, isn't there? Because the number one point is, a lot of Piltover, they're okay with using hextech crystals because they're not aware that they're enslaving an ancient race and exploiting them for the use of these technologies. Seraphine is now aware of it because she can now hear them and she can communicate with them, but then continues to use them to exploit them as speakers, basically, for her concert performances, which she uses as a veil to be like, oh, I'm using this to spread the word, but it's kind of really sinister if you think about it. She's sort of like knowingly exploiting them, and that's why I thought, especially after reading her, it's like, man, this is such a good opportunity to make her like dislikable in some ways, where she's claiming that she's using him, whether she believes it or not, but she's spreading the song of a Bracken for good reason. And then it turns out, yeah, no, that's kind of ethically very questionable what she's doing and that sort of thing, but she's very, like, I don't know, fixated on the way that this is what she needs to do, this is the way to do it. And especially because of her attitude to Zorn, it's very sort of cliche, isn't it? Sort of like a plucked from like a teenage drama or something, that she's going to reunite two factions with high political tensions between each other just through song or whatever, you know. It's sort of something you'd expect to see in a teen movie rather than League of Legends, which is, you know, a lot of people aren't happy with that. I'm not particularly happy with that. I kind of wish Riot, because she's been described as like a deeply empathetical person, especially because, you know, she can hear people's souls and that she can, I guess, feel what they feel on a quite literal level, and, well, hear what they feel, I suppose. I kind of wish they made her a bad person. Not like, she doesn't have to be intentionally bad, like she doesn't need to be, a lot of people are saying she should be like cartoonishly evil villainess because of, she's basically also perpetuating the enslaving of this race. I think that would be too much of an eye roll for me. I think she should be like an ignorant villain, like, because no villain thinks they're the villain of their own story, especially not Seraphine. She thinks she's being a hero when actually she's doing some very questionable things, and she's kind of very preachy and she could be very preachy and annoying in like a very preachy and annoying sort of like influencer way, I suppose. In a bad, negative influencer way, I suppose, where she's using a platform to sort of elevate herself selfishly rather than using it to elevate necessarily others around her. She's trying to elevate people where she could be trying to elevate people around her, but she's sort of like doing it first and foremostly for herself rather than for the sake of others necessarily. I think that would be a very interesting direction to go. Right now she's just sort of like I don't even know how to describe her. She's very sweet, quiet, not quiet. She's sweet and optimistically cheerful, sort of like pixie girl, I suppose. Which is, that's it. It's like, okay, it doesn't, really give much personality from her, to be honest, in my opinion. Like, it's sort of just like, I feel like they could do more, and oh my god, I've been speaking for 25 minutes, how's this happened? Maybe this will be a two-parter. As things unfold. But yeah, I don't know, there's a good hobby drama post about that or something. On that subreddit. So, I don't know, I just feel like Seraphine is a bit of a missed opportunity. She could be like a commentary on like privilege and that sort of thing, because her parents are born in a very low privilege zone, with from a very low privilege situation, and where they had to work really hard and then to get out of it, to give their child Seraphine a good life. And she's been born into very high privilege. She's been very lucky, from what it seems like, especially since her parents can seem to support her music career or whatever sort of thing. And she could be an interesting look on her. Basically, she should be like ignorant, I suppose, prejudiced maybe, not really truly understanding the struggles that people go through and so on, which she kind of does as well, to be honest. Which I'm really hoping that they do sort of flip the script on us at some point, where she does turn out to be hashtag sort of fake, where a lot of what she does is for show rather than or whatever, or she's just like incredibly ignorant of people's struggles, that sort of thing. Like, I think that could be a really interesting direction to go in. And furthermore, her voice, like all the characters in the game have a voice, obviously. They have voice lines, they have voice actors voicing them, and her voice the clips of her voice actress has come out. Like her entire voice is now, people have uploaded it. And I will comment on the fact that I don't want to say for certain, but I'm like 95% sure they hired a singer, not a voice actress, to do her voice, because the way she delivers the lines is not quite what I'd expect from an experienced voice actress. It's not quite the delivery I'd sort of expect from an experienced voice actress. It sounds much more like someone who's got some acting experience, but not like from a caliber you would expect for Riot Games, one of League of Legends, the biggest video game in the world, you know, that sort of thing. It sounds a bit amateurish, but also her singing is unbelievably good in her voice lines, but she doesn't sing very often, to be honest. She sort of sings every now and then, which you'd thought, for being a travelling singer and all, a pop star basically, she'd sing a lot more often. It's, you know, it's just like another thing, but because of the way the voice actress read out her lines, and because it's a little bit more stiff, it's a little bit more, feels like she's reading just like a script rather than performing one. I don't want to criticise voice actress too much, because she'd do a much better job than I ever could, obviously, but it kind of sounds like the voice actress is sort of like faking it. She's sort of like running a script, performing a script, being like, wow, you're amazing, that sort of thing. It sounds fake, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. And because of that, I feel like if Riot just came out, or like another story following up and showing a much, maybe, not malevolent side of her, but a bit of a less goody two-shoes, I suppose, vibe of her, it would turn her into a very interesting character, I think. Aesthetically designed, I think it might be too late, is my guess, for them to really do much about it, but yeah, I'm not super happy with it. They also released like a blog post, because they do that with a lot of the champions, about like concept ideas that they had as they were making her, and one of her concept designs, you see it there, it's like a picture of three of her. She has pink hair again, and she's wearing like a greenish outfit. It's amazing. It looks perfectly like what I'd imagine a Hextech pop star would look like. And when I see it, I just can't believe that they didn't go with it. I'm just like, wow, this is so good. And the thing that makes me upset about it the most is probably because it's not the designer's fault. It's probably someone up in management was just like, now we need to push this to sell as much as possible, or whatever. So they were like, make her extremely likable, make her like a very pleasant personality, don't give her flaws, or that sort of thing. And even design-wise, League of Legends has a problem where a lot of the female characters especially are very sort of like idealistic, are very unvaried, I suppose. They all like, a lot of the previous ones tend to be like rather curvy, quite slim, you know, that sort of thing. A very like unrealistic body type. And Seraphine's not quite like that, but she is a bit like overly idealistic for like a different market, I suppose. Probably appealing much more to the Eastern market, like an East Asian market, that sort of thing. Because she's very just like generically pretty. She's sort of like overly pretty, if anything. She also looks incredibly young, which is a very sort of thing, but I'm not going to go into that. Being like a disapproving noise, in case you thought that was approving. It's like, yikes, sort of thing. Apparently I've talked about half an hour, but yeah, I don't know. There's so much to talk about. I might actually just talk about this in the next episode as well, because this is enough conversation to fuel for ages. I actually can't believe I spoke about half an hour just about Seraphine, and I didn't even get onto the other controversial parts about her, like implementation in the game or anything. I only solely talked about aesthetics. Maybe this is the direction to go in Animal Crossing. Just ranting about video game news. I don't want to be ranting and preaching though, because that sounds overly negative. Because honestly, I do quite like quite a lot, like bits and pieces about Seraphine. It's just the things that it feels so close to being good, but we sort of like right, we're lining up for an amazing like slam dunk or whatever, and we just like drop the ball before the net. It's like so close. If they just did a few things a bit differently, it'd be really cool. But there's a lot of controversies to go over, so I guess this is a part 1 or whatever. But anyway, let's round off this episode here. So if you haven't been watching, thank you very much. This has been Animal Crossing New Horizons, and I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, and subscriptions are greatly appreciated. And if you want to join the Dear Darling Discord, down in the description below. I hope we can see each other again, but for now, it's up farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now. We'll see how the Seraphine situation evolves, huh? It'll be interesting.